Hi, welcome to the Ultimate Sports Blog Podcast. Today is Friday, February 16th, 2018. Today I'm going to redo my MLB Top 100 list because there's a lot of notable players that belong on that list that I forgot to put on the list. Then I'm going to recap the last 2 days in college basketball and make picks for the big games this weekend. Recap the NBA the last 2 days, and I'll pick the All-Star game at the end of the podcast. And the All-Star game pick's not going to count towards my Maddie's picks, unlike the college picks and the rest of the NBA picks I've been doing over the last couple weeks. So on to the baseball list, the redo baseball list. I'm going to list off my honorable mentions and then list off players that I think could be on this list in July and in the wintertime that are young prospects. And then I'll do the top 100. My honorable mentions: Jake Lamb of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Robbie Ray of the Arizona Diamondbacks, Dansby Swanson of the Atlanta Braves, Ender Inciarte of the Atlanta Braves, Zach Britton of the Baltimore Orioles, Adam Jones of the Baltimore Orioles, Rafael Devers of the Boston Red Sox, Jackie Bradley Jr. of the Boston Red Sox, David Price of the Boston Red Sox, Avisail Garcia of the Chicago White Sox, Brandon Morrow of the Chicago Cubs, Addison Russell of the Chicago Cubs, Ian Happ of the Chicago Cubs, Kyle Hendricks of the Cubs, Nick Castellanos of Detroit, Ken Giles of Houston, Josh Reddick of Houston, Ian Kinsler of the Angels, Zach Cozart of the Angels, Cole Calhoun of the Angels, Travis Shaw of the Brewers, Marcus Thames of the Brewers, Lorenzo Cain of the Brewers, Jose Barrios of the Twins, Irvin Santana of the Twins, Todd Frazier of the Mets, Brett Gardner of the Yankees, Aaron Hicks of the Yankees, Dellin Betances of the Yankees, Matt Olson of the Athletics, Aaron Nola of the Phillies, Abdul Herrera of the Phillies, Vince Velasquez of the Phillies, Nick Williams of the Phillies, Josh Harrison of the Pirates, Josh Bell of the Pirates, Michael Wacha of the Cardinals, Adam Wainwright of the Cardinals, Paul DeHong of the Cardinals, Tommy Pham of the Cardinals, Lance Lynn of the Cardinals, Lance Lynn's a free agent, Hunter Renfroe of the Padres, Miguel Margot of the Padres, Evan Longoria of the Giants, Brandon Belt of the Giants, Brandon Crawford of the Giants, Andrew McCutchen of the Giants, Johnny Cueto of the Giants, Robinson Cano of the Mariners, Gene Segura of the Mariners, Alex Cobb, he's a free agent, Blake Snell of the Tampa Bay Rays, Kevin Kiermaier of the Rays, Cole Hamels of the Rangers, Elvis Andrus of the Rangers, J.A. Happ of the Blue Jays, Kevin Pillar of the Blue Jays, Roberto Osuna of the Blue Jays, and Adam Eaton of the Nationals. And here are the list of prospects who might make this list by the summertime or after the season ends. The Yankees is Gleyber Torres. The Braves, Ronald Osuna. The Blue Jays is Vlad Guerrero Jr. or Bo Bichette. Bo Bichette, I should say. The Angels is Shohei Ohtani. Chicago White Sox, Eloy Jimenez. Washington's Victor Robles. Cincinnati's Nick Senzel. Houston's Forrest Whitley. Chicago White Sox, Michael Kopech. Los Angeles Dodgers, Walker Buehler. The Rays is Brent Honeywell. Houston's Kyle Tucker. Philadelphia's J.P. Crawford. St. Louis's Alex Reyes. Miami's Lewis Brinson. Cleveland's Francisco Mejia. Baltimore's Austin Hayes. Baltimore's Chance Sisco. Texas's Willie Calhoun. And Los Angeles' Alex Verdugo. On to the top 100. 100, Joey Gallo of the Texas Rangers. Number 99, Xander Bogaerts of the Boston Red Sox. Number 98, JT Realmuto of the Miami Marlins. 97, Javier Baez of the Chicago Cubs. 96, Rodon Odor of the Texas Rangers. 95, Kelvin Herrera of the Kansas City Royals. 94, Wade Davis of the Colorado Rockies. 93, Gio Gonzalez of the Washington Nationals. 92, John Gray of the Colorado Rockies. 91, Kyle Seager of the Seattle Mariners. 90, DJ LeMahieu of the Colorado Rockies. 89, Miguel Cabrera of the Detroit Tigers. 88, Yasiel Puig of the Los Angeles Dodgers. 87, Alex Bregman of the Houston Astros. 86, Jose Abreu of the Chicago White Sox. 85, Justin Upton of the Los Angeles Angels. 84, Miguel Sano of the Twins. 83, Chris Taylor of the Dodgers. 82, Eric Hosmer, he's a free agent. Number 81, Andrelton Simmons of the Angels. Number 80, Carlos Carrasco of the Indians. Number 79, Jake Arrieta, he's a free agent. 78, Nelson Cruz of the Mariners. 77, Michael Fulmer of the Tigers. 76, David Robertson of the Yankees. 75, Archie Bradley of the Diamondbacks. 74, Greg Bird of the Yankees. 73, Masahiro Tanaka of the Yankees. 72, Chris Davis of the Oakland Athletics. 71, Chad Green of the Yankees. 70, Rhys Hoskins of the Phillies. 69, Sonny Gray of the Yankees. 68, Matt Carpenter of the Cardinals. 67, Anthony Rendon of the Nationals. 66, Rich Hill of the Dodgers. 65, Jonathan Scope of the Orioles. 64, Wilson Contreras of the Cubs. 63, Kyle Schwarber of the Cubs. 62, Michael Conforto of the Mets. 61, A.J. Pollock of the Diamondbacks. 60, Byron Buxton of the Twins. 59, Noah Syndergaard of the Mets. 58, Aroldis Chapman of the Yankees. 57, Christian Yelich of the Brewers. I almost said the Marlins. 56, Daniel Murphy of the Nationals. 55, Adrian Beltre of the Rangers. 54, Buster Posey of the Giants. 53, Cody Allen of the Indians. 52, Garrett Cole of the Astros. 51, Jose Quintana of the Cubs. 50, Brian Dozier of the Twins. 49, Yoenis Cespedes of the Mets. 48, Carlos Martinez of the Cardinals. 47, Luis Severino of the Yankees. 46, Didi Gregorius of the Yankees. 45, Craig Kimbrell of the Red Sox. 44, Justin Turner of the Dodgers. 43, Trey Turner of the Nationals. 42, Yu Darvish of the Cubs. 41, Edwin Encarnacion of the Indians. 40, Marcus Stroman of the Blue Jays. 39, John Lester of the Cubs. 38, Freddie Freeman of the Braves. 37, Zach Greinke of the Diamondbacks. Steven Strasburg comes in at 36 from the Nationals. 35, Andrew Benintendi from the Red Sox. 34, Jose Ramirez of the Indians. 33, Mookie Betts of the Red Sox. 32, Cody Bellinger of the Dodgers. 31, Chris Archer of the Rays. 30, Madison Bumgarner of the Giants. 20, Josh Donaldson of the Blue Jays. 28, George Springer of the Astros. 27, Andrew Miller of the Indians. 26, Jacob deGrom of the Mets. 25, Gary Sanchez of the Yankees. 24, Corey Seager of the Dodgers. 23, J.D. Martinez, he's a free agent. Number 22, Chris Bryant of the Cubs. 21, Joey Votto of the Reds. 20, Kenley Jansen of the Dodgers. 19, Charlie Blackmon of the Rockies. 18, Marcell Ozuna of the Cardinals. 17, Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs. 16, Dallas Keuchel of the Astros. 15, Justin Verlander of the Astros. 14, Francisco Lindor of the Indians. 13, Nolan Arenado of the Rockies. Number 12, Paul Goldschmidt of the Diamondbacks. Number 11, Jose Altuve of the Astros. Number 10, Aaron Judge of the Yankees. Number 9, Chris Sale of the Boston Red Sox. Number 8, Manny Machado of the Orioles. Number 7, Carlos Correa of the Astros. 6, Giancarlo Stanton of the Yankees. 5, Max Scherzer of the Nationals. Number 4, Corey Kluber of the Indians. Number 3, Bryce Harper of the Nationals. Number 2, Clayton Kershaw of the Dodgers. And number 1, Mike Trout of the Angels. That's my new top 100. The updated top 100 that I forgot a lot of notable names in. On to college basketball results. I went a mediocre 6-6 for Wednesday's games. I usually don't do that poorly. Number 22, Michigan defeated Iowa by a score of 79-54. I had Michigan on the podcast. Number 12, Duke beat Virginia Tech by a score of 74-52. I had Duke on the podcast. Florida State defeated number 11 Clemson 81-79 in overtime. I had FSU on the podcast. Vanderbilt upset Mississippi State 81-80. I had Mississippi State. Providence upset number 3 Villanova 76-71. I had Villanova. Kansas State defeated Oklahoma State by a score of 82-72. I had Oklahoma State. North Carolina State defeated Syracuse by a score of 74-70. I had Syracuse on the podcast. Number 10, Auburn defeated Kentucky 76-66. I had Auburn. Georgia defeated Florida 72-69 in overtime. I had Florida on the podcast. St. John's defeated DePaul by a score of 77-76. I had St. John's on the podcast. Number 4, Xavier defeated Seton Hall 102-90. And I had Xavier on the podcast. And last but not least, for Wednesday's games, number 24, Nevada defeated Boise State by a score of 77-72. And I had Boise on the podcast. Thursday's games, I went 6-4. So that was a little mediocre for me too. Wisconsin upset number 6 Purdue by a score of 57-53. I had Purdue on the podcast. Number 19, Wichita State defeated Temple by a score of 93-86. I had Wichita on the podcast. Houston upset number 5, Cincinnati by a score of 67-62, and I had Cincinnati on the podcast. Another big upset, Penn State upset Ohio State. And Penn State put themselves back in the picture for an at-large. And they defeated number 8 Ohio State by a score of 79-56. And I had Ohio State on the podcast. Number 9 Gonzaga defeated Loyola Marymount by a score of 76-46. I had Gonzaga on the podcast. USC defeated Oregon by a score of 72-70. I had USC on the podcast. Utah defeated Washington by a score of 70-58. I had Washington on the podcast. I actually screwed that up. I went 5-5 on my picks for Thursday. I had 6-4 written down. So, a sub 500 the last 2 days for me, which is not good for me at all. Back to the results. Number 17, Arizona defeated number 25, Arizona State by a score of 77-70. I had Arizona. San Francisco upset number 15, St. Mary's by a score of 70-63. I had St. Mary's on the podcast. And last but not least, in terms of games I picked for Thursday, UCLA defeated Oregon State by a score of 75-68. And I had UCLA on the podcast. Picks for the weekend. So many good games, including a really interesting one tonight in the Atlantic 10 between a team that's emerged as an at-large candidate, and that is the St. Bonaventure. And they host Rhode Island. So the Bonnies host the Rams. Probably the biggest A-10 game of the year. And I like St. Bonaventure to pull off this home upset. Not the worst thing in the world for Rhode Island to lose here. I think they're a lock to get in the tournament. And St. Bonaventure can use a win like this to improve their at-large case. So give me the Bonnies at home. Saturday, a lot of games I'm going to pick here. I'm picking a total of 26 games. And first, I have Miami hosting Syracuse. Give me the Hurricanes at home. The Orange, by the way, I think are out of the tournament unless they pull off this game and a couple in the ACC tournament. Georgia Tech hosts Virginia Tech. Give me Virginia Tech on the road. They need that game. Butler hosts Providence. This is a must-win for Butler. Give me Butler. Number 23, Oklahoma hosts Texas. Give me Trae Young and the Sooners at home. Kansas State hosts Iowa State. Give me the Wildcats at home. Number 2, Michigan State at Northwestern. That's a trap game for the Spartans, but I think they'll get the win here as they improve their case to be a 1 seed. Missouri at LSU. Give me Missouri. A game that I'm not picking towards the picks, but it's worth noting. Indiana at Iowa. Iowa's probably going to win that game. I think Iowa wins that game, but that's not a relevant game, so it's not going to count. Alabama at Kentucky. The Wildcats are desperate here. Give me the Wildcats at home in a game that they absolutely have to have. I think Alabama can afford a loss here. I really do, because they've had some big wins recently, and they can afford a loss, and the Wildcats, on the other hand, cannot. Number 10, Auburn is at South Carolina. That's a bit trappy for them, but I like Auburn here on the road. BC hosts Notre Dame. Give me BC at home. BC's making an at-large case very quietly. NC State at Wake Forest. That's a little trappy for the Wolfpack, but give me the Wolfpack on the road. Number 21, Texas A&M at Arkansas. Give me the Cornhuskers. Florida at Vanderbilt. Florida's lost a lot of weird games lately. They're slowly falling out of the tournament picture. They absolutely have to have this game. Give me the Gators on the road. And what is the best game of the weekend? Xavier hosts Villanova. 4 hosting 3. I'm gonna pick Xavier at home. And I think it's going to be a close game. I won't be surprised at all if Villanova wins. I thought Villanova was by far the best team in the country a couple weeks ago, but I think other teams have cases such as Michigan State, Virginia, among them. And I think Texas Tech is another team that's coming on of late, and I think has a real shot at a 1 seed. And speaking of the Big 12, Texas Tech is at... Wait a minute, I'm lost. Oh, yeah, I know where I am. Tennessee at Georgia. Give me the Volunteers on the road. That's a big win for Georgia the other night, but Tennessee's just a better team. I put in TTU. And I forgot to put in Tennessee. So that's one more game to add to the list. Number 20, West Virginia at Kansas. Give me the Jayhawks at home. They absolutely have to have this game. It would boast their West Virginia's resume if they can get this win. It would be tough for the Mountaineers. It is a tough ask. Game day is going to be at Lawrence. And I think Kansas will get a big win to keep its hopes up, alive as a possible 2 seed. And then we have, here we go, Texas Tech at Baylor. I just forgot to put in 2 more picks, so I have 28 picks. I just forgot to put Kansas, West Virginia, and Tennessee, Georgia picks on my sheet. So that's where the confusion was. So number 7, Texas Tech at Baylor. I think Baylor has a real chance to win this game, but Texas Tech's on a roll. Give me the Red Raiders on the road. Rutgers at Maryland. Give me the Terrapins at home. Number 9, Gonzaga hosts Pepperdine. Give me Gonzaga. Washington hosts Colorado. Washington absolutely has to have this game. Give me Washington. Oklahoma State's at TCU. Give me the Horned Frogs at home. A very interesting game at the KFC Yum Center as Louisville hosts number 14, North Carolina. Carolina's been on a roll lately. Louisville hasn't beaten anybody. Give me the Tar Heels on the road. I won't be surprised if Louisville wins this game. Louisville has to have this game, by the way. I think Louisville's in trouble if they lose this game, but yeah, I think North Carolina wins, and that puts Louisville in a bit of trouble. Mississippi State hosts Ole Miss. Give me Mississippi State at home. A team that has to win this weekend. Number 15, St. Mary's, is at Portland. Give me St. Mary's on the road. That was a bad loss for them on Thursday night. They got a rebound here. Utah at Washington State. Give me Utah. Marquette at Creighton. Give me Creighton. UCLA hosts Oregon. Give me UCLA. USC hosts Oregon State. Give me USC. A couple interesting games on Sunday that I want to get to. There's 8 of them that I'm picking for the podcast. And I'm going to start with a very interesting game in the ACC, and that's number 12 Duke at number 11 Clemson. Duke's just the better team. I think Duke wins, and it's going to be pretty close. I think Clemson hangs around. I'm going to say Duke by 7 points there. Number 8 Ohio State at Michigan. Give me Michigan at home, because they could use a win to bolster their resume. DePaul at Seton Hall. Give me Seton Hall. Tricky game from Nebraska. They go to Illinois. Illinois isn't very good. Give me Nebraska on the road to continue its at-large case. Number 19, Wichita State at number 5, Cincinnati. Give me Cincinnati at home. They're going to rebound from that loss against Houston. And speaking of Houston, they're at Temple. And speaking of Temple, they almost beat Wichita State at Wichita the other day. I think they're going to get a win here against Houston to improve their at-large case. And Houston's due for a letdown after that big Cincinnati win. So give me Temple at home. Pitt at Florida State. Give me Florida State. They need that game. And Penn State at number 6 Purdue. Give me Purdue big at home. Penn State's going to have a letdown after the big win over Ohio State. I'm going to recap a little bit of NBA before I go. A couple national TV games from the last couple days. You had the Celtics and the Clippers. The Clippers defeated the Celtics in Boston by a score of 129-119. The Celtics slumping into the All-Star break a little bit. Meanwhile, the Clippers are playing pretty well in the conversation for the 8th seed. And that 8th seed, by the way, is either going to be New Orleans, who's missing DeMarcus Cousins, the Clippers, who just traded away Blake Griffin, or the red-hot Utah Jazz, winners of, I believe it's 11 in a row for the Jazz. Yes. And that's led by who I believe is the Rookie of the Year. He has to be considered the Rookie of the Year favorite in Donovan Mitchell. He's phenomenal. He's certainly the most valuable rookie. Ben Simmons gets all the hype because he was the number 1 pick in the draft in 2016. He missed last year. And he's been excellent, too, for Philadelphia. But Donovan Mitchell has to be the Rookie of the Year. And the nightcap of the doubleheader, the Trailblazers got a big win, 123-117 over the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors slumping into the All-Star break a little bit, too. The Blazers are probably going to make the playoffs. They didn't make a trade to improve their team. The Warriors didn't really do anything either. It's weird that the trade deadline for the NBA came so early this year. It's usually the Thursday after the All-Star break. And last night on TNT, you had the Timberwolves hosting the Lakers, and the Timberwolves got the win, 119-111. Big win for the Timberwolves. They could very well be a top 4 seed in the West this year. Jimmy Butler certainly made that team a lot better. Meanwhile, the Lakers, Lonzo Ball's coming back after the All-Star break. That's good news for them. They were playing well this month. They were 12-7 in their last 19. Well, 12-6 in their last 18 before the Timberwolves game. But a little bit of a nice stretch for the Lakers, and they're intriguing in terms of what they can do long term. And then tonight you have the Celebrity All-Star Game. It should be interesting. And then you have the Rising Stars Challenge World against USA. Another fake pick. I'm gonna take the USA. I'm not gonna count this towards Maddie's picks, but give me USA. And I just mentioned Donovan Mitchell. I think he'll be the MVP of this game. And then you got the All-Star game on Sunday. You have Team LeBron against Team Curry. I'm going to take Team Curry. I probably would have taken Team Curry even if a lot of Team LeBron's guys hadn't gotten hurt. I think a lot of people were sleeping on Team Curry. A lot of talented players on that team. Everybody loves Team LeBron or loved Team LeBron because of LeBron and Durant together, and then Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins together. John Wall's not playing. Kristaps Porzingis isn't playing. So a lot of guys. Oh, and Kevin Love's the other guy that's hurt. That's from Team LeBron. So Team LeBron's missing 4 guys, and now in their places is Paul George, Goran Dragic, Kemba Walker, and Andre Drummond. But I like Team Curry, and I think the MVP of this game is kind of outside the box. But just the thought of playing in Los Angeles, and I'm going to take Klay Thompson for your All-Star Game MVP. His dad was an ex-Laker. His dad, Michael Thompson, is the radio analyst for the Lakers. And just the thought of Klay in Los Angeles, it just makes sense. And I kind of like the storyline there. So give me Klay Thompson for the MVP of the All-Star Game. The dunk contest, I think your winner for that, I'm leaning on taking... I was going to take Aaron Gordon, but he's out. You know what? I like Donovan Mitchell. I'm intrigued. And then you give me Klay Thompson for the 3-point contest, too. So I'm going to say Klay Thompson wins 2 All-Star awards as well as Donovan Mitchell. On Monday, I'll be back recapping All-Star Weekend and the weekend it was in college basketball. And I'll do the bracket exercise and redo my own personal bracket, the same exercise I did a week ago, and go over all the seeding lines and whatnot. And maybe I'll throw a couple other wild card surprises in there as well. Hope you guys have a nice weekend, everybody.